Hello, it's the Body Bag, ready to zip up today's MMA scoop. Well, Max Holloway, he's injured. He's out of UFC 222 for the title defense against Frankie Edgar. What is Dana White gonna do? Let's talk about the card. It is weak, and Max is out. So what kind of rabbit is Dana going to pull out of his hat to save this fight? Well, there's been talk about Nate Diaz. He says he's ready to go. He'll jump right in there and fight somebody. But of course, he probably wants that cool $20 million that he got against McGregor. We know that's not going to happen. We have a lot of options out there. How is Dana going to pull this together? Who's going to fight? This card is a mess. It is a weak card. This is the last thing Dana needed, is for somebody to get hurt. They were going to have the first fight. Frankie was injured. Now they're going to have the second fight. Now Holloway's injured. What is Dana going to do? What would the fans like to see? Who would the fans like to see Frankie fight? I'll tell you who I would like to see Frankie Edgar fight. I'd like to see him fight Cub Swanson. You have two guys that will just go toe-to-toe, throwing until somebody ends up on the canvas. That would be one hell of a fight right there. Frankie Edgar, 22-5, Cub 26-8. Both of them just lets their hands go. Frankie may try to do a takedown on Cub, but it would be one heck of a fight. I think, Dana, why don't you try to reach out to Cub and put something together? Let's move on to the Ferguson-Khabib fight. Khabib, he's going to try to take Ferguson down. He's not going to be able to keep the distance and bang with Ferguson. I think Tony is just going to show the world that he is the best 155 fighter. And then when this fight's over, I think McGregor is going to come out and try to retain his title. And as long as Ferguson stays away from that left, I think he has an opportunity to take it into 5 rounds and win by decision. I'd like to know what the fans of the Body Bag out there think. Now, with the injury to Holloway, yes, these guys, Ferguson and Khabib, they've been trying to fight for what, a couple years now? Hopefully this fight goes through. But good old Eddie Alvarez, he's saying he's going to be ready to step in if either of those two get injured and that they can't make the fight. What the problem there is, either of these two guys will take Eddie out in 2 rounds or less. So I'm not a fan to see Eddie come in there if somebody can't make the fight. But I know who would also jump in there if the money's right. Yes, Nate Diaz. See, Nate Diaz, he's been training. He wanted big money. They've tried to work with him. He turned everything down. But now he's ready to get some cash. So they could get Nate for 222 UFC against, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would line up for that fight. And he has another option, as he can go to the next fight just in case Ferguson or Khabib gets hurt. And that would still be a large draw, big pay-per-view fight. So I prefer to see Nate Diaz waiting it out for the Khabib fight with Ferguson. I'd like to know what you guys think. So we just found out that Cody, after losing his title to DJ Dillashaw at 135, he says he's willing to step up at 145 and fight Frankie. This fight also would be a great match. I think Frankie would be able to take Cody down. And I think Cody, if he gets his distance, could knock Frankie out. So I think we're gonna have Frankie's, he throws, he gets in the pocket, but really, Frankie, when he takes you down, then he controls the fight. Cody, he's looking for the home run. That's what he's looking for. So I think that would be an interesting fight if Cody can keep his distance and keep Frankie and stop his takedowns and keep his jab moving and keep that distance moving, he would have an opportunity. If not, Frankie's going to shoot on him, he's going to take him down, and he's going to be on top of him for the entire fight. But that would also be an interesting fight. Dana has a lot of options here, and we know, the money has to be right, but looks like Cody's hungry. He's willing to go up, and I think that's pretty interesting. We'll see how this all shakes out for UFC 222. Well, one of my favorites, Machida, he won that decision. Some people say it was the second round. Whoever you scored the second round won the fight. When you leave it to the judges, anything can happen. And at the end of the fight, he surprised me because he never calls anybody out. And he actually called out Michael Bisping. And he would like to fight Michael. I think that'd be a really great fight. Just two great guys that will give it all. But what the problem is Michael's looking for a bigger draw. I don't think the money's there with Michael and Machida. I think it'd be a great fight. I just don't think the money's there for Michael. I think he's looking for bigger fish. He's at the end of his career. He has a fight or two left in him. I don't know what's on his contract, what's left on his contract. I don't know if his contract's over with this next fight or not, but it's just not enough money, I believe, for Michael. And even though it'd be a great fight, I just can't see this fight happening. And of course, coming up this Saturday, we have Romero versus Rockhold, the Soldier of God versus Luke, the surfer from Northern California. We all know what happened. Whitaker became ill, couldn't make the fight. Whitaker had a hell of a fight with the Soldier of God. He actually, in my opinion, Whitaker lost the first and second round, and then he won 3, 4, and 5. And I think the Soldier of God ran out of some gas, and the young gun Whitaker had the energy to get that win. So that fight's coming up this Saturday. It's in Australia. I've noticed the last couple of years Dana is really promoting Australia, which is great. I know he really, really wants to go to Russia, so he's probably hoping Khabib wins this fight against Ferguson. But let me roll back to this Saturday's fight. How I see this fight is Rockhold has to survive the first 2 rounds as Whitaker did. You have the Soldier of God, who is a monster, and he is quick. He is quick with angles. He is so powerful. He is so quick. And until he gasses, you just got to stay out of the way of that freight train. I don't think Luke is going to be aggressive in the first round. Maybe he might loosen up in the second. But the last thing you want to do is get aggressive in the first round against a fresh killing machine. Okay? He is a freak of nature. Now, with that muscle mass, we all know it takes a lot of oxygen to feed those muscles. And that's why Luke just needs to be smart for the first couple rounds. Yeah, if he has a wide open kick to the head, yes, throw it. But I think if he tries to stand up and get aggressive, I think that's the wrong thing to do. Because this guy can take you out with either hand backing up. So we'll see how this fight goes. I mean, Luke hasn't fought in a while. Romero hasn't fought in a while. So they're even there as far as ring action goes. I'm predicting Luke's going to win this fight if he sticks to a smart game plan. Fill out the first couple rounds, let him tire out, and then lay it on him. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen this Saturday with this fight. So let's look at the two fighters. The Soldier of God, he's 40. Luke is 33. So we look at the Soldier of God. He has 8 wins since 2013, 6 performance bonuses, and even though he's 40, he spent a lot of his time in the Olympics wrestling. He received a silver medal. Now with Luke, he has the 3rd most finishes since 2013. 4 bonuses. And both these gentlemen, their credentials are kind of parallel, because you got 12-2 and 16-3, but you have a gold medalist against a Strikeforce champion. Now, again, even though Romero has that wrestling, a lot of times he doesn't use it. He'll stand and bang. So that means Luke, he needs to jab and move until he gets a little sweat running down the Soldier of God, and then look for one of those great head kicks. Because if he stands in the pocket, a lot of bad things can happen. So let's talk about the weapons these fighters bring into the game. With Luke, he has a pattern. He loves the right hook. He loves the left kick to the body. He's been using that since Strikeforce, and it seems to be his 2 favorite weapons. So with Romero, he has that flying knee. We all saw what happened to Chris with that one. He is quick. And I mean quick like reaction. He is as quick as a cat. He moves like he's 135 pounds. When somebody shoots on him, he sprawls, gets up, turns, and strikes in a second. For a man that is that size, he is as quick and agile as a cat. Of course, he brings in his power. He brings in his wrestling. So this is going to be a great fight. I have no idea which way this is going to go. Whoever can get their game plan geared up first will probably take this fight. I want everybody to enjoy it. UFC 221. And this is the Body Bag, zipping it up for another week. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend.